All right, what we got? If AI takes all our jobs, who's going to buy everything? Oh, good question. From How Money Works. All right, let me see this.
Trying to cut down on workers for as long as those workers have demanded pay and benefits.
Yeah.
Whether it's downsizing, outsourcing, streamlining, understaffing, or automating, if there is something a business can do to get rid of workers and their salaries, you better believe they are going to do it.
Oh yeah. Anytime someone, like, I'm talking to like some of my friends and they're like bitching and complaining about their job. Anytime I hear them complain, which is fine, it usually boils down to the two words of CC, cost cutting, cutting cost. Got to get that productivity up. You got to get that value. Got to get that value up. You got to keep that labor down. You have to cut costs.
But this time does feel a little bit different. Recent AI advances have been mocked for not quite living up to the bold claims of their tech bro founders. But
what? Doctors recommend smoking 2 to 3 cigarettes per day during pregnancy. There's no way this is real. Was this smoking while pregnant? Smoking while pregnant? Okay. If you smoke while you're pregnant, you are at an increased risk of a wide range of problems, including miscarriage and premature. Okay. So that is probably wrong. I don't know how this happened. AI overview. Search labs. Smoking while pregnant causes a number of stuff. Yeah. So the lie detector determined that that was a lie.
founders. But even in their current imperfect form, LLMs, general use robots, and generative models are already replacing.
Oh yeah, this is not a real image. This is not a real video. This is completely AI. All of this is AI. This is crazy.
Jobs, and they are getting better every day. So that's bad for workers. But if you're a senior corporate executive or company owner, maybe you should be asking yourself, if we automate everybody's job, who is going to buy all of your shit?
That's a good question. What's gonna happen? If only there was like a thing that some government program that could just give people money. I think it was termed universal basic income.
A new study out today predicting almost half of all global jobs could be affected by artificial intelligence.
That 40% of all jobs around the world will be impacted by AI.
And found AI could
40%?
replace 300 million full-time jobs, including positions in the legal and engineering fields.
Will Smith
So far,
eats
there are
spaghetti.
9 robots here doing the work of more than 250 humans.
I have some good news and some bad news for your theoretical company.
I mean, it's still gonna take someone to create the robots. You know, all of those what was it, like the arms with like all the joints and shit. You still need like people with like STEM degrees to make that shit. You still need those guys.
The good news is that labor reduction systems of all varieties have already cut out millions of man-hours in America alone and made the workers who are left more efficient at their jobs. Artificial intelligence is just another tool that your company can use to get more work out of fewer staff or replace teams entirely. Even here at Little Old Works
With what is this? Is this what is it? Is this Photopea? I think this is Photopea. We already have this in at like not the place I work at, but within the city I work at, or the the area I work in. There's already places that already take advantage of shit like this, like paver places, places that make pavers, like those little stones that you just like put on your yard, and you can like put them all down at once and create a driveway, or you can like section off your like garden or property with whatever. All of that is automated. And yes, you still need people to like go in, mess with like forklifts and stuff and strap everything down and whatnot. But for the most part, there are like engineer operators that oversee like the computer shit. And then when something isn't going wrong, then they gotta call in like the maintenance guys that are responsible for like trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with this arm? Why isn't it rotating or doing this or that or whatever? And yeah, so it's like there's more responsibility on fewer people. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Media Group, we used to have someone working part-time whose job it was to cut out images on Photoshop to use in our goofy little
Really?
animations. Now, Adobe Suite has inbuilt AI features which can automatically remove backgrounds from any image with absolutely no human time or skill involved. Now, we love our editors, so we gave him more work editing our history videos. But there are a lot of companies that now don't need to or don't want to employ people for these simple jobs. According to a survey of 697 companies conducted by Metrigy, a research and strategic advisory firm, whatever that means, companies who did not use AI in calendar 2023 hired 89% more agents than those who did use AI in their contact centers.
Oh, dang. So if you didn't have AI stuff at your job, you hired more people. Okay. But if you did have AI shit, essentially you dodged this gigantic 89% of hiring. And you either maintain your current staff or you let people go because, I mean, Flippy the robot can flip burgers better than Bob over there complaining about the damn union. Or, Cindy at the cashier register. She's like getting into another fight with like some new like the new customers or whatever. And yeah, you simply don't have to do that. You don't really have any room to argue with a kiosk when you're trying to pick out your little Wendy's or McDonald's burger and shit like that.
For existing employees, it was even worse. When AI was added to a contact center, 36.8% of companies laid off an average of 26.1% of their employees. These alarming numbers were within just 1 year, and just within call centers, which have already been hit by outsourcing, understaffing, and automation harder than most other professional services. For now. So, congratulations. Your business now has reduced headcount and significantly reduced expenses. But here comes the bad news. In 1914, Henry Ford doubled the salary of his factory workers to $5 per day. The story goes he did this because he wanted all of his employees to be able to afford a Ford Model T of their own, boosting company revenue.
That's pretty cool. What a good guy. Good guy, Henry Ford.
Now, this is basically complete nonsense.
Oh, I'm lost.
In reality, Ford just wanted to reduce staff turnover and deny talent to up-and-coming car companies like Dodge to maintain his monopoly over the growing automobile industry.
Oh.
But as with every good fairy tale, there is a nugget of truth in there. If the employment rate suddenly drops as hard as it did in the call centers from the study in every company around the world, then companies will undeniably struggle with reduced revenue as people without jobs don't have the buying power they once did, and even people with jobs will cut back out of fear that they might be next. But there is a business plan that you, as a hypothetical titan of industry, might want to consider so that this isn't a problem. And that's just making stuff exclusively for other wealthy business owners while diverting resources away from people who have nothing to offer you that can't be done more efficiently by a machine or a cheaper worker on the other side of the world.
Oh, so that's the trend for, I don't know. I can't say economics, but maybe businesses, services, and goods just stop making things for regular people and just only provide goods and services that are only affordable by the above average, maybe like upper middle class, or even above that, like the upper class person, at least in the United States. Dang, I can't imagine that, dude. And that's where we're like going towards.
Now, if you think that sounds a bit crazy, you should know that it's already kind of happening. And the best place to see it is in video games.
Oh no.
Yes, those occasionally fun distractions from real life are the perfect example of this shift happening in the real world right now.
The goddamn video games. I thought this is gonna be about fucking taking our jabs and shit, and now he gotta bring video games into it. God dang it.
So let me cook. According to Grandview Research, the video game industry is now bigger than the movie, music, and television industries combined, and it has honed in its most profitable strategy. Free-to-play.
Goddamn free to play. Bro, like, free to play is so lousy and lazy and dog shit and shameless and spineless. And fuck, like, I can't say like it's bad because apparently players like free to play. And it only takes, well, here's the thing. Let's say there's a big ass free to play game like League of Legends. And essentially you got two types of people to play. You got the whales and the not the whales. Riot is banking on the amount of money that the whales are spending to keep the game afloat. And, you know, maybe if the not whales want to buy like a skin or two here and there, you know, that's fine. It's whatever. But the whales are essentially making the game available, keeping the game free to play so that everybody can play, essentially. So it's this weird, like, 99% and 1%, like, interconnected relationship where, like, both parties need each other to have, like, a full, like, the entire game experience. Because if you didn't have the whales and the whales weren't spending money on the game, well, then how's the game going to make money to support, like, good-ass servers and, like, constant updates and staffing and all that shit for Riot? I mean, maybe you could depend on the not whales, but then, or maybe then it would become people that pay money period on the game, that spend money period on the game, versus all the free to play players, that people that have never spent a single penny on the game. And that would be the two groups. So seldom do games get this right, but when they do get it right, I mean shit, League of Legends is a perfect example of it working.
Games are ironically some of the most profitable games on the market because they have perfected a business strategy called freemium pricing. Most people will play their games for free, but a select few, affectionately known in the industry as whales, will spend thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars on a single game to.
And this is just like a little off topic, but it still relates to League of Legends. When I first played League of Legends, I was very young. Well, not very young, but like, whatever I play. I think I played in like season like 1 or 2 or something like that, like many years ago. And, you know, over the years I kind of kept up with it. And then this name, Faker, popped up, and everyone's like going, "Oh, Faker's the best. He's the best. He's like the bomb diggity." And it's funny because like he's still like considered like one of, if not the best players in the game. And a little thing that I learned back then and now is that Faker does not play with skins in the game. And back then, I didn't understand why that was when I was like a young little kid. But, well, not like a young little kid, but like before I was like into PC gaming. And then I see like, oh, Faker, blah, blah, blah. He still doesn't play with skins. I see what he was doing by saying that he doesn't play with skins. I mean, he's literally against like the cosmetics of the game. And like it wasn't until like, I don't know, a year ago that I understood that he was trying to like make a point to, you know, trying to say that You shouldn't play a game for the cosmetics. You should play a game because you legitimately like the game and you have a desire to just get better at the game for the sake of like skill expression. That's it. You know, you shouldn't be playing a game that you just want to spend money on for cosmetics. So I think that's kind of cool, but it's kind of funny that I didn't come to that realization of like, oh, I get it now. I don't know.
To unlock in-game perks that would be almost impossible to obtain as a free user. It's important that these games still have free users though, because without them, the whales would have nobody to show off to or pwn with their paid-for advantages.
Yeah.
In a world where people are looking for budget-friendly forms of entertainment, the game industry has realized that the best way to turn a profit is to cater to those who have the financial means, or at the very least, the credit limit, to spend ridiculous.
Like cashing in on free-to-play games. Worldwide revenue generated with free-to-play video games in 2019 by platforms is pre-COVID. Mobile was the platform, 64.4 billion. PC, 21.1 billion. And then little old console, 1.6 billion. And you know what? With this graph, it makes it seem like 1.5 billion is like nothing. This is not the case. 1.5 billion is such an enormous amount of money. It's crazy. Like, you can't fathom a single $1 billion because it's like, oh, it's one. When you think of the word one or the number one, it's like, oh, you only got one. But you can't really fathom the billion part.
Ridiculous amounts of money on a video game. The people who have the most financial means don't work for their money. They own income-producing assets. And if automation does replace jobs on an even more widespread scale, that will make your ability to work less valuable and simultaneously income-producing assets more valuable. The rate of change in AI and automation makes the future impossible to predict. But if the people investing in these technologies want to see a financial return on that investment, they are going to learn what the game industry already has.
Holy shit, what was that?
They are going to learn what the
global entertainment industries. Gaming, music, film. Gaming, absolutely destroying everything else. Music and film. Holy shit. 159.3 billion. This 0.3 is 300 million.
The game industry already has. There is more money to be made by catering to other rich people, and everybody else can be kept around as entertainment. Now, if you think that sounds a bit depressing, well, welcome to this channel. But also, I should tell you that market trends already say this is happening. AI isn't going to change your world. It's just going to continue a trend that's already been happening for years now. So it's time to learn how money works to find out how companies are adapting to a world where nobody can afford anything anymore. This week's lesson is sponsored by Brilliant. Brilliant is an educational platform designed for comprehending what you learn. It focuses on a bottom-up learning strategy, starting with the fundamentals using interactive problem-solving activities. Learning and retaining knowledge this way is shown to be 6 times more effective than traditional video lectures.
Oh, I can learn how to code. Oh, so I can just like cheat on this and like get an AI to do it because AI can do coding too. Great.
The courses available on Brilliant are carefully crafted by world-class educators, scholars, and professionals from leading organizations and institutions such as MIT, Caltech, Duke, Microsoft, Google, and more. Brilliant's growing number of programming courses are a great way to build foundations and learn real-world applications. I recently took their course on creative coding, which builds your computational problem-solving skills by writing programs that produce complex outputs. With Brilliant, learning is accessible from anywhere using a computer, smartphone, or tablet. Brilliant provides opportunities to acquire real knowledge in just a few minutes each day with its captivating and enjoyable lessons, seamlessly integrating into your schedule whenever you have time. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/howmanyworks or click the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. In the 1992 movie Glengarry Glen Ross, the iconic Always Be Closing scene has Alec
Oh my god, this is such a good movie, dude. I only saw this like what was it, like maybe 2 years ago? I saw it like twice. I was like, damn, this is a good ass movie.
Baldwin's character bragging to another salesman about driving an $80,000 BMW. Adjusted for $1992, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that would be the equivalent of just under $182,000 today.
Jesus.
That is a very expensive automobile, to be sure. But these days, if you drive around a major city, you're likely to see dozens of cars that cost that much or more, and they probably wouldn't even stand out that much.
No.
According to company sales...
Bro, I do not want to live anywhere where there's many exotic cars just casually, like, just driving by, and nobody bats an eye. I do not want to be around that.
Data and historic records, Lamborghini has sold more cars in the last 10 years alone than it did in all the rest of the company's history combined.
Okay, this is kind of fun. So they're selling more cars. That's great. Good for Lambo. How many unique buyers are there? Has that part changed? Or is it just like the same guys, the usual suspects just buying more Lambos?
Because there is simply a bigger market for $300,000 cars than ever before. The same general trend...
Oh my god, you could easily deduce that, oh my god, Lamborghini is selling so many cars. Everybody is just made of money nowadays. How is there any poverty in the world? How is anybody suffering? How is anybody homeless? That's impossible, all right? There's so many Lambos being sold.
And is true for other extreme luxury brands like Bentley, Ferrari, Patek Philippe, luxury groceries at Erewhon, gym memberships.
Wait, did he say luxury groceries? What the fuck is a luxury grocery? Bro, to me, like a luxury grocery is like fucking Publix.
That cost more than rent, hotels that make Hilton look like a Holiday Inn, and to top it off, private jets are all now way more popular than they ever have been. One thing that often gets lost in discussions of wealth inequality is that, yes, billionaires are getting richer, but there are also far more rich people around than ever before, and it's because the value of an hour of human labor has stayed more or less stagnant, while the value of an asset and the availability of credit has skyrocketed.
Oh, wow, that's a unique fact. The value of a person's time has pretty much stagnated, but the value of an asset has just increased. I mean, he's using like the S&P 500 in this example, but dang. So what does that mean? What would have to change to make this line go up? Are there simply just too many people on the face of the earth? There's about like close to 8 billion or something like that. I guarantee you everybody in here would be thinking completely different if there was like half as many people on the face of the earth.
People who held onto an even modest portfolio over the last 4 years now have enormous fortunes. Certain individuals got incredibly lucky with good investments, and other people accessed easy credit to get absolutely jacked to the tits on leverage and ride the longest asset bull run in history. Very few people have made modern fortunes through work alone. And you might have even noticed how investing went from something that you should do to secure your retirement to something you need to do to have any quality of life at all. If robots really do take over, then it will just continue to push the value of an hour of human work down, because it could be done by a machine instead.
Yeah.
It will rally the value of assets because business owners and investors will benefit from the free labor substitute. This is where people point to policy fixes like a universal basic income. If you haven't heard about this idea by now, that's impressive. But it's basically a government payment made to everybody, regardless of personal financial conditions, that should be enough to cover basic living expenses. It's been proposed as a solution to keep the whole system going if people can't earn an income for themselves because their labor has been outsourced or automated.
And here's like, because you have to raise questions with universal basic income. Would this be like a flat rate around the United States? Would it be like a federal UBI? Or would it be like, just leave it up to each state to figure out what the universal basic income would be for each state? Because I guarantee you, the Florida UBI is going to be completely different than the New York UBI versus like the California UBI versus like, I don't know, like the Mississippi UBI. You give these guys in California $15 like an hour. Yeah, it's gonna be hard for them to survive. You give the guys in like Mississippi or Florida $15 an hour, you're pretty much rich, dude. You're swimming.
But that is still not a desirable outcome for anybody. If comprehensive automation of human labor gets as far as needing this, then you will fall into one of two defined classes of people. You will either be getting by based on a government lifeline, or you will be in the class of people that own the businesses complaining about all the taxes they need to pay to fund that lifeline.
All right, but then, what do you think would happen? Like I think to my knowledge, so like the McDonald's in Florida has like different prices than the McDonald's in California. All right, understandable. Do you think that these businesses would try to push for a higher UBI so that people could have more money to spend on their businesses? I think that's what would happen.
I find it a little bit easier to sympathize with one of those groups, but there are still no winners. Just last week, the results of one of the most comprehensive universal basic income experiments.
Here's what happens when you give people free money. Oh, let's hear what some person that is probably typing away and in like their fucking like luxury apartment and has zero financial issues about why you shouldn't give people free money. Let me hear this.
Experiment was published. The research gave 1,000 people living in Texas and Illinois $1,000 a month with no conditions attached.
Okay.
To qualify for this study, their
Well, shit. Why you gotta do it there? Let me get like $1,000.
2019 household income had to be less than 300% of the federal poverty line, or $37,470 for an individual.
Mm-hmm.
There was also an unlucky control group of.
Ooh. We study the casual impacts of income on a rich array of employment outcomes, leveraging an experiment in which 1,000 low-income individuals were randomized into receiving $1,000 per month unconditionally for 3 years. So let me see. So $1,000 a month. 1, 2, 3 times 3. So they gave 1,000 people $36,000. So let me see. So times 1. Bop, bop, bop. Oh wow. Okay. So $36,000, or not thousand, million. $36 million. Okay, to do this study. Okay. But so in 1 year, they got $12,000.
Of 2,000 people who were only given $50 a month. This is because
With a control group of 2,000 participants receiving $50 a month.
when your personal finances are being studied, you are more likely to be careful about your spending decisions. And the researchers wanted to
Oh, okay. So already there's already flaws. Probably the people that were even able to put their name in to the big bucket, the big hat, are probably at least lower middle class to middle class. At minimum, you're lower middle class. All right. How many homeless people do you think, were in that study? Probably almost none, right? That's what I would guess.
control for these changes. The study itself was funded by an organization called Open Research, which is not technically affiliated with OpenAI, but they are both managed by Sam Altman, who has been very vocal about how this technology could display.
And then also, I didn't even hear like what's okay. So it was Texas. Texas is like I have no idea the economy or like what the like minimum wage or what it's like in Texas. I know like the two like richest states are like fucking California and New York. Those guys got like all the money or whatever. I'm not sure of like what it's like in Texas. Is it like really expensive in Texas, or is it like kind of median, or is it kind of like low, or I don't know.
Place billions of jobs. Now, if you ever find yourself running an AI startup that burns millions of dollars a day, then one of the best ways to ensure that you keep that investor money coming is to pretend to be really scared about how your technology is going to replace workers, because, well, replacing workers is really exciting to investors. So realistically, this study was probably little more than a marketing stunt conducted by one of the best funded organizations in the space. But that doesn't mean that the results aren't still interesting. The key results related to employment was that the group that received the $1,000 payment ended up earning significantly less for themselves than the control group. After the payment was accounted for, they still earned more. But $12,000 alone is not enough to live anywhere in America without other forms of support.
Yeah.
All households ended up earning more, but that was largely because this experiment started right at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah. So even that, I would say, just scratch the whole damn study. Because, bro, like 2020, 2021, 2022, like everyone was like, oh my God, COVID. And then like the years after, it's like, oh, kind of COVID, and then not so much COVID, and like even less. And now we are here in like 2024, and it's like not as prevalent. Like if somebody's like, oh, I got COVID, you're like, okay, just put a mask on, get away from me. You're not like, nope, everyone's not as freaked out as they were like in years past.
When employment, particularly in low-wage professions, was hurt by lockdowns. The reason the researchers gave as to why households receiving the subsidy ended up earning less money for themselves was because many people took it as an opportunity to cut down on how much they were working and commit more time to leisure and looking after their family. This fits the optimistic idea of an AI future where we can have machines do everything for us while we just relax and collect universal basic income. But the findings still told a story of people who were financially struggling. Mental health improved because people were less stressed, but those improvements faded by the end of the first year. Food security also increased, but again only in the first year, as even people with additional income fell victim to rising living expenses, and that was when they could work to earn additional money. When compared to being plunged into poverty, it's an okay compromise. But this isn't going to happen overnight.
Right.
Outsourcing turned entire cities in America into ghost towns, but it happened so slowly that big changes like this never got addressed. The endgame for people investing into automation is to build that automated utopian future. The endgame for everyone else is to make sure that they aren't excluded from it. Now, if you want to get these videos a day early and get articles that can never be made into YouTube videos, then be sure to subscribe to my email newsletter linked in the video description. Now, while everybody is worried about not getting enough work, there is one country that has decided the solution is getting people to work 6 days a week. So go and watch this video to keep on learning how money works.
Dang. All right. That's pretty cool. That is a good question. If AI takes all our jobs, who's going to buy everything? I mean, I don't really see how anything besides UBI would be even allowed like on the table of options. I just simply don't see anything besides it. I mean, because what would happen? You know, all of like the dog shit jobs that nobody wants to do get automated and whatnot. So then what do you have? Yeah, you'll probably have like some types of jobs that are just like harder to automate, like I don't know, like you still need people kind of to like do police shit, firefighter shit, EMS shit, hospital stuff. What else? Probably like plumbing, electrical, handyman shit. The fucking South Park episode of AI taking over and all the handymen are rich because nobody knows how to do anything anymore. We're coming closer and closer. Fucking South Park predicted it, man. Oh my God. But then, where would all the jobs be going? Well, they would be all in the fucking... Everyone would be careening and clamoring towards trying to get like some sort of STEM degree to get into like engineering or something. You know, all of a sudden those fields would just be like oversaturated with people, which isn't like the worst thing. You know, those are like great, and everyone considers like those degrees like pretty noble, and like understandably they're pretty hard, all of them. science, technology, engineering, math, so on and so forth. I don't know. Good question though. I like it, and yeah, good video. 100%, man. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.